All right, we are going to get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is the Q&A with UNCA, talking all about experiential learning opportunities. So as you may know, we've been doing a series of these with UNC Asheville with all different kinds of topics. I'll let you know near the end of this session which ones we still have left coming up this spring. But for tonight, we are talking about experiential learning. As people come in, please feel free to let us know what your name is, where you're from, and then if you want to let us know if there was a particular topic that brought you to this Q&A tonight, we'd love to hear that. My name is Lindsay Prather. I work in the admissions office at UNC Asheville, but more importantly, I'm a very proud alumna, class of 2010. I studied sociology, got my teaching license, and so I kind of did an internship with my student teaching. I had the opportunity to study abroad and do some research as well. So if you haven't caught on, those are the three things that we're going to be talking about tonight when we talk about experiential learning. We're really talking about those three big buckets of internships, that opportunity to dip your toe into the workforce, undergraduate research, which we have an incredibly strong tradition of, really cool things happening on campus, and then study abroad. Who doesn't like learning more about your opportunities to go to other countries and experience different cultures? So thank you so much to all of our guests that are here. A couple logistics real quick before we jump in. Again, feel free to let us know who you are and where you're from in the chat. Some of you submitted questions when you registered for this Q&A, so we do have those questions and we are going to cover those. But if you have other questions that pop up that you think of during the webinar, the session, please feel free to put those in the Q&A. That way they don't get lost in the chat. We can make sure that we get those answered for you. If we're not able to cover anything, or if we've got questions that are related to other topics that we're going to cover in other sessions, then we'll make sure that you get the opportunity to have those answered separately. Again, just a quick reminder, we cannot see or hear you, so feel free to eat dinner, get comfortable on the couch while you listen to all the amazing opportunities we have here at UNC Asheville. And we are going to jump right in. We're going to get started first by talking about undergraduate research with Megan Powell.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. I am a faculty member in the mathematics department and also the director of undergraduate research. And as Lindsay mentioned, we do actually have a very strong tradition of undergraduate research, both in and outside of the classroom. Some departments and programs really embed students doing original work into their curriculum. And so we define research broadly to be original work done by students. So it's possible that this is scientific research in the lab. This could be some original creative writing or original music composition. This could be a literary analysis. It really is a broad range of topics. So some of the programming that the undergraduate research program has is every fall and spring, we have a one-day symposium. It's a Tuesday near the end of semester where everybody on campus, there are no classes that day, and everybody on campus is invited to watch students, and it from freshmen to seniors. It's not just graduating seniors doing, their last paper. We have first year seminar students who do original work and present at this symposium. So we have a few hundred students that actually present every semester. And so that's an amazing opportunity, even from first semester freshman year, to just see what kind of stuff is going on campus. If you're not sure, you go to the poster session and walk around and see biology, physics, neuroscience, psychology, all in just 1 hour, and be like, man, this seems really cool. I'm interested in this. Later in your career, if you do end up engaging in undergraduate research and creative activity, we have an opportunity for you to publish your work. We run our own journal that is published once a year called the UNCA Journal. And if you present your work and you publish, we have a special designation at graduation called University Research Scholar. So if doing original work is something that you are really interested in, it's a special designation on your transcript that you can graduate with to say, hey, this is something that I did while I was at school. So each year we do monetarily support students. We have probably about 20 to 30, we're trying to grow the program, students each summer that get a few $1,000s of living stipend to conduct research. They may be on campus, they may be off campus, and so students propose or faculty propose, and students can apply to faculty programs. We have anything right now from like analyzing astronomy pictures to we have students that are analyzing like Shakespeare and Bollywood and how those overlap. So we have a lot of really cool projects going on really across the campus. And so I know many of you are not local, but if you are closer by or are interested in coming for the weekend, we're celebrating students that from each department that have done research at we're awarding this outstanding achievement in creative activity and research at a forum called SCARF on Friday, April 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. So if any of you are like, man, this sounds cool, but what is she even talking about when she's talking about student research? Because sometimes it's hard to get your brain around. We're going to have about 30 students there really presenting different work. We have from across campus, again, we have biology, psychology, we have an original composition with a 14-piece band. We have some students performing some theatrical works. We have students from math, computer science, creative writing. So if you're really interested in kind of seeing more about that and we're able to make that event, again, it's Friday, April 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. here in the Highsmith Union. If that happened to work out for you and something you wanted to see in person, that would be a great opportunity. So I guess I'll open it up to see if there's any specific questions related to undergraduate research.
While we see if there's any that come in, do you mind kind of going back? And so are there particular majors that require research? Are there some that don't? And then even if they don't require research, do students still have the opportunity?
Yes, so there are majors that as a part of their, many majors have a senior capstone course where they are required to do research in that. And some majors have 2, 3, 4 courses listed so that you can learn the steps to be able to do research. Many departments have like a research methods course. You can learn experimental design, how to set up your methods. And so it is not universal across campus. Not every department requires original research. Most departments require some type of capstone, but it may or may not be original work. But every department is open, and we're working on developing some sort of matching events for next fall where students and faculty can say, hey, this is the kind of stuff I'm interested in doing. So self-motivated students can then, because sometimes in your first year, it's hard to know. You know that you're really interested in doing something, but you don't know who to talk to. And so we're trying to kind of find a way to match students and faculty earlier in the career for students who are interested across campus.
Awesome. So that dovetails well into one of the 2 questions that we just got. So one of them is, at what grade level are you allowed to start undergraduate research or to do undergraduate research?
I hate the word allowed because it's really any level. It depends a little bit on the research. So there is some prerequisite knowledge that's needed to engage in the research, but there's some that there's not that much. I'm in mathematics, and I actually run a whole research workshop that UNCA students are invited to attend for free and get a small stipend to go to. We require, I think, Calculus 1. So if you're in the sciences, you probably have to taking Calc 1 in your first year. And so you would be welcome and invited to do that. So there's no level that disallows you from engaging in research. It's just the level of the research. And quite frankly, a lot of research is learning on the job. Like it's just, you're learning as you go, whatever, tools or skills that you need to do that particular research, which can start your first semester if you wanted to.
Awesome. Thank you. We had a student who was hoping for a couple examples of what research might look like in psychology.
Can you ask me a different question while I'm turning on my computer to pull that up?
Yeah.
We actually have a list of psychology projects. We have 4 that are being presented at SCARF. It's just going to take me a minute to get there.
Love it. Okay, so while you're pulling that up, what we had a student ask about how available the professors are to mentor you during that research opportunity. Kind of what does that relationship look like?
I mean, usually it's very strong because students they need a lot of mentors. So if a faculty has says yes, I mean, it really can go in two ways. One, a faculty member can say, I'm interested in this, and they can approach individual students in their courses, or they can just say, hey, like I've sent emails to everybody in the math department, say, hey, I want to look at like concussions in football and model them. And I had a bunch of students, some I didn't even know, be like, hey, I want to do that. And so it can also go the other way, where students say, I have this really cool idea, and they go to a professor and says, hey, are you interested? Most professors are very hands-on with it because students need that. I mean, research is new. You don't necessarily know everything you need to know to even get started, even starting with literature reviews. And so, I mean, we have professors that are on campus all summer in the lab with students. They go out in the field with students. They're out trying to help solicit participants if it's some type of survey that they're trying to do. So I would say exceptionally available. I would say more here than you would get at many other larger institutions. So I did just pull up our SCARF event that's happening and our 4 psychology. So these are 4 that are were nominated by the psychology department as top projects. One is in attitudes towards generic singular pronouns in text. Another one is content analysis of Reddit subgroup posts. The third is examining music and its perceived effects on individuals with autism spectrum disorder. And the fourth is the effect of smartphones on working memory. So I think all of those sound amazing, especially that last one. I feel like we don't even recognize how much our phones affect our memory because we
The
don't
effect
have
of
to memorize
smartphones
things
on
like phone
working
numbers
memory.
anymore. So
Yeah. Wow, those all do sound really fascinating.
yes.
Very cool. Thank you. Um, are there any misconceptions that you think people have about undergraduate research, or or are there any examples of research in the arts department?
Oh gosh, we have really active research in the art department. So keeping up on the same page,
Yeah.
how the 2 that we have are how did the landscape of Southern Appalachia govern life and the characteristics of traditional craft found within the region? And the second one is discovering iconographic links in a perpetual silver covenant chain. So I think those are both art history. But I really love this question because what I was going to say is we're trying to move towards the language research and creative activity. And so when we say research, we really just mean you've produced something original. And I would say the biggest misconception is that research is for the sciences. That is what a lot of students and perceive research to be, and that is not at all the case. Yes, our science is very active in research, absolutely, but that is in no way exclusively. So we support original work of any type. I mean, it could be creative activity, it could be literary analyses, it could be historical analyses, it could be something in linguistics. And so I think that's probably one of the big ones. And I think the second one, and this is just more from having worked with students for years. I've published like in peer-reviewed journals that got noticed by international researchers. But with students is that if I have found that it's significantly more about the motivation of the student than their background or skills in a particular field. And so I feel like the student perspective, one misconception is like, I don't know enough to be able to contribute. Like, I don't know enough to do anything. And in my experience, I've had top-notch, amazing students that just weren't motivated, that didn't produce much. And I've had students that, struggled to get through Calc 1 who then produced amazing research with me. And so it's really not about, how necessarily you're performing in your classes, but what is your drive to dig deep and learn. My first project was on Tasmanian devils with a student, and this was 10 years ago. She's teaching in a classroom, and she's known as like the Tassie Devil teacher now because she can just rattle off random facts about Tasmanian devils at the drop of a hat, because she just dug deep and literally learned everything there was to know about Tasmanian devils for a year. And so that is way more important than how good you are at any one academic thing.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you for that. So let's, while you've got the spreadsheet up, could we have a couple more examples of what we think of more of like the natural sciences, maybe?
Oh gosh, and you're gonna make me have to read things I can't pronounce. Let me find. Sorry, my chemistry and biology ones. Here,
That's okay.
Oh, here, I can read this one. Population dynamics of the lesser chestnut weevil in northeastern United States. I'm not totally sure if the weevil is the tree or a bug. Genetic diversity within and hybridization between two imperiled North American pitcher plants. So there's a lot of words to say. They're out in the field studying plants and fungus and bugs in, I'm sorry, I can't even read the chemistry. Oh, here's one chemistry one. Two-tiered approach to combating antibiotic resistance in chemistry. And environmental studies, we have more evaluating the endangered pitcher plant. And I'm trying to look if we have a student right now, one of my own students, who's studying diversity, equity, inclusion, specifically in the mathematics classroom and what that looks like in the mathematics classroom. And yes, so let me go ahead and put in the chat the site here too, so that everybody can visit this site.
Yeah. Awesome. And then maybe let's, unless we've got another question, do you want to wrap up by talking a little bit about SCARF?
Yes, so that's the event. Oops, I messed it up. So yes, that's the event I mentioned at the beginning that I was reading these from.
Oh,
and so it's a new event this year. Yes, I sent the right link. Good. That is really celebrating students who departments think have done really outstanding work. And so we're calling it the Outstanding Achievement in Creative Activity and Research that they're receiving that award. So it's Friday, April 14th from, let's see if I can put this in the chat as well while I'm talking. Let's see if I can multitask.
It looks like you put the last one.
Friday, April 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's really super accessible. So the symposium is amazing, but it's hundreds of students all over campus from a bunch of disciplines. So it's a little harder if you're coming to kind of see what undergraduate research about. This is one location, just 2 hours. We're going to have snacks. There'll be music, there'll be drama performances. So what I just put there was that particular event to see what undergraduate research really looks like. So I love the questions of like, okay, I'm interested in psychology. What does that look like? You can go talk to the students themselves. And I think it's a lot more powerful to talk to students who've done research than me. I'm like, okay, how did you study working memory and smartphones? So if you are all invited, and I mean, I know for many of you that it's not feasible, but if you would like to come, we will unfortunately not have a virtual option for that. But if you're interested in coming in person, you're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great. Yeah, I really appreciate your time. A ton of opportunities for students. Research can look like a lot of different things.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
All right. If people do think of questions later on that they wanted to ask about undergraduate research, please feel free to put those in the Q&A and we will make sure that they get to Megan. And then I will also be sure to put her the undergraduate research email address in the chat so that all the students can access that. But moving on to our second awesome opportunity at UNC Asheville, and that is our internships. So thank you so much to Lisa Mann for joining us here from the Career Center, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Thank you for having me, and it's good to have so many folks on the call, and to have some questions come in ahead of time about internships, and I'm excited to answer them. I want to start by talking very briefly about the Career Center. So the Career Center is very comprehensive, and so you may ask me about a particular company, and whether or not we have internships there. And the answer is we can have internships everywhere. And that's the really cool thing about the UNC Asheville Career Center, is that it's a small enough college and a big enough career center that we can help you make connections, and sometimes we can make connections for you. And so we have this wonderful opportunity to talk with you in our career coaching sessions and figure out what it is that you want. What do you want to experience? What do you want to try out? What do you want to test? And then go from there and figure out the right place for you to do your internship. And sometimes that factors in, whether or not you want to be on the bus line during the semester, or you want to go in the summer, like we had last summer, a student go to Chesapeake Bay and work for NASA. And so we're here to support all of those opportunities. So I mentioned career coaching. We have that, absolutely. We bring employers to campus to meet you. We have a really cool event that I love called the internship event, where employers come to campus and they pitch their internships to you. So you get to sit back in the seat in the audience and hear over 20 pitches, and then decide which one you might want to follow up with at the end of the event and do some networking and meet them. I also want to mention that we have a way to help you afford an internship. So that's often something that we've heard from students that can be a barrier in taking on an internship. And so we have something called the Internship Assistance Fund. And through the Internship Assistance Fund, you apply, you let us know the amount of funding that you need, up to $2,000, and we will help you afford your internship. And that doesn't have to be just for unpaid internships. It could be for underpaid internships, or you have an internship in California and you just got to afford the flight. So we can help with all of those different things. So I'm really happy and excited to answer the questions that you all have about internships. Yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, let's jump in. So what are common routes that first year students tend to take regarding internships? What does that first step look like?
Absolutely. So a lot of times we've heard from students that they don't think they can do an internship as a first year student, but the cool thing is you absolutely can. And some companies even have specific dedicated internships for students who are finishing their first year. You'll see it at major companies like Google and Microsoft. And our local partners are also interested in students who've completed their first year as well. We just worked with Genova Diagnostics to start an internship for students after their sophomore year that will hopefully function as a pipeline to a full-time position. That's the goal of their internship program. And that would be for students in biology or chemistry. So as a first year student, we encourage you to get involved with the Career Center early and often. We are in the middle of Ramsey Library. You can't miss us. The second you open the front doors, you can see the Career Center. Just walk straight back. You can schedule an appointment or you can do a drop-in. So just talk with the folks who are there. And then we'll help you one-on-one figure out where you want to go and what you want to do. And as a first year student, we'll think about what do you want to explore, because that's really the point of doing it after your first year. It's not to commit. And that's really one of the beautiful things about doing an internship, is that you're not 40 hours a week indefinite in that career. You get to test it out, and it's a defined period of time. And because you have the support of the Career Center, if it turns out you're doing some of those things that you hear about from older generations, like you're just getting coffee, we're going to work with you and your employer to make sure that you're doing something more substantial. So you have a lot of support from the Career Center in internships, and it's a very individualized experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am going to, just because we've got a bit of a smaller group, so I think we can be a little bit flexible. I'm going to pull Deaver in, and just so he doesn't have to sit there on the side. Deaver, do you want to give us a little intro to study abroad? And then I'm also wondering if there's a way, can you do internships abroad?
You mean going global? Lisa, you want to talk about going global?
Sure,
segue?
yes. We have launched a resource for UNC Asheville students called Going Global, which so historically it's been hard for us to know if an internship abroad is legitimate, right? We want to make sure if you land in another country that you know that everything that's happening is what should be happening. And so Going Global is this wonderful resource we partnered with that does that work for us. And it does even more than that. So you can find out about internships abroad, but also country guides. So the Career Center specializes in resumes and CVs for the United States, because every country does it a little bit differently. And so if you're applying in another country, Going Global has country guides so that we can put together a resume or CV that is entirely appropriate for that country. So we can help you with that as well.
That is amazing. Cool. Yeah, I legit didn't know that you could do internships abroad, so you're welcome. Deaver, why don't you give us a little bit of the overview of study abroad from there?
So just like Leah was explaining, a high quality internship is not like being a gopher at even a great company. Study abroad is not glorified tourism. Study abroad is the opportunity to travel, experience another culture while engaging in an academic experience and earning credit for it. And so the credit earning experience is really, really sort of vital. The idea that you can enroll at an international university and earn credit that in an ideal world, in most cases, will keep you on track for graduation is a really integral part of the process. The other thing that's really important to know, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the experiences you might have, but in most cases, there is financial support for study abroad. So we have scholarships awarded through the Office of Study Abroad. And if you are traveling, especially during fall and spring semester, if you are studying abroad and working with one of our partner universities or an exchange program we work with, you will be able to use your UNC Asheville financial aid while studying abroad. And in many cases, pay exactly the same as you would if you were spending the semester on campus. So I don't want anybody to think that it's out of reach financially. In many cases, we can create or structure an experience that may cost you little more than your UNC Asheville semester, other than potentially a flight, buying a plane ticket, which is always fun. So, and there's sort of three different ways that you can study abroad with UNC Asheville. The first way is on a shorter term trip led by one of our own faculty members. And so these are trips usually in the summer, usually 2 to 4 weeks, always led by 2 UNC Asheville faculty members who teach usually two UNC Asheville courses. Often those courses are in our humanities or arts program so that you're getting effectively credit for our general education program, our liberal arts core. And you're traveling with another group of UNC Asheville students. So if this whole idea is kind of scary to you and you're not sure it's for you, this is a really good way to break into it. And doing a short-term trip during the summer doesn't preclude you from doing a semester-long study abroad later. as well. So this summer we have actually at the beginning of May, we have 6 trips leaving from UNC Asheville for Japan, Italy, Germany, Belgium, Ireland, and the 6th one always gets you, doesn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. It's another awesome place. And so it's a really easy way to earn credit while studying in another country and learning about another culture. The second way is through one of our partner universities. We have 12 universities that we partner with directly all over the world, from Korea to Japan, many in Europe, and several in the UK. And those are partners where that is also a situation in which we've structured the experience a little bit. We have staff, their staff at UNC Asheville know the staff at Hanam University in South Korea. We talk all the time. They send us students, we send them students. And so it's just a program we know really well. But if any of those programs aren't what you're looking for, we partner with what we call provider agencies. The largest one is ICEP. It works with universities all over the world. And so using a partner provider, you can enroll directly in classes at other universities all over the world. Because of our arrangement with ICEP, you pay tuition and fees just like you're a UNC Asheville student. And since the UNC Asheville is a relatively affordable education, you can often be paying a fraction of what it really costs in a more expensive country, especially in Europe. So in a way, it's a really high value way of studying abroad. We help you select courses before you leave, so that we are all on the same page before you leave what those courses will transfer back as. And so that's a really important way. We don't want there to be any surprises when you come back. You should know before you go what kind of credit you're earning. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Very cool. So I'm going to ask you the same question that everybody else got. What about freshmen?
Okay, this is a good one. Right now, we have a rule that you must be in attendance at UNC Asheville for 1 year before studying abroad. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, we just want you to be comfortable in a US college experience before you go to enroll in an international university. But as early as summer, between your freshman and sophomore years, you can absolutely study abroad, and you can do so multiple times. If you can figure out a way to earn the right credit to keep you on track to graduation, we are happy to support you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then one more question about study abroad that came in. Or actually 2 more, but we'll do this one first. Do you have to speak the language to study abroad?
Okay, so no. And in fact, most of the students at UNC Asheville who go abroad are not fluent in another foreign language. The UNC Asheville short-term, the faculty-led trips, the short-term trips, are obviously taught in English. We have students who particularly choose English-speaking countries, and there are many all over the world, because they just feel more comfortable operating in English. Our partner universities and most of the exchange providers will help us find the English language courses in a university's catalog. And if a university in South Korea, Japan, or Nigeria is interested in appealing to students from abroad, they often have English language courses as well. So no, it's not necessary. yes, it does require a little pre-planning, but like I said, almost everybody does that planning and has a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a second and jump back over to internships for a minute. So Lisa, looks like we're looking for some specific examples tonight. So do we have any examples of pre-med internships, or if you even have a specific one of neuroscience, if you happen to? And
Great
then
question.
are internships available all year round as well?
Yes. So first of all, internships are absolutely available all year round. When you decide to do an internship, you'll also decide if you want to pursue academic credit for it or not. And if you do want to pursue academic credit for it, the Career Center will walk you through what that process is within your major. But also, if you've declared a major, your department chair will work, or your advisor and your department chair will work with you on what the requirements are within your major to earn academic credit. Most students who pursue academic credit for their internships do it in the fall and spring semesters. And in the summer, typically don't pursue academic credit. And there are lots of different reasons for that. So you can absolutely do internships year round. And most of our students do their internships in the spring and summer. And some students even stay in their internship. So they'll start an internship in the summer and the company or organization will decide to keep them on. And then you have a paid part-time job for the rest of the academic year. That absolutely happens. The best case scenario is between your junior and senior year, you do an internship and you like it and they like you. And then it turns into full-time employment. And that absolutely happens with our students.
That happened to my brother.
There you go.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that happened with one of our state employees credit union public fellows internship program students last summer too. Yeah,
that's awesome. So the what does pre-med look like? And then again,
yes,
neuroscience.
Sure. So when it comes to pre-med, we do have a pre-med advisor, Amanda Maxwell, who works very closely with all of our pre-med students. And for those students pursuing internships, often they're working with Amanda in conjunction with the Career Center. But we have a fantastic relationship with an organization nearby called MAHEC, which is the Mountain Area Health Education Center. But it's way more than a Mountain Area Health Education Center, right? It is a massive healthcare provider for Western North Carolina. And they offer internships specifically reserved just for UNC Asheville students. And we have great relationships with them. A lot of our public health students work there for their internships. But they also have a clinical side. So to get those rotational hours, if you're thinking of pre-med, that relationship is really strong and it's a place that we can absolutely look at for you. But additionally, I was just at an event this afternoon where we had Dermatology of North Asheville, and we have relationships with smaller providers in the area as well. So, for sure.
Cool.
And yeah, and when it comes to neuroscience, I have a feeling that MAHEC I haven't worked on neuroscience internships personally, but David Earnhardt in my office has. And I have a feeling MAHEC would be a really great source for that as well.
Awesome. One more quick question about internships. If someone does get a summer internship, is there any way that they can stay on campus?
Yes, we have intern housing. Every summer we have intern housing. It is especially low rate for interns who are coming to Asheville in the summer. And it's not specific just to UNC Asheville students. So if you have a friend who's attending another university and they need intern housing for the summer in Asheville, you could stay with a friend on campus at UNC Asheville in the summer. I can find the link for the information about intern housing and share that with you.
Thank you. Y'all, I work here and I'm learning so much. All right, so while you're putting that in the chat, thank you. Deeper, let's jump back in. We had some questions about, is study abroad available for any major? Are there only particular majors? And then are there any specific study abroad programs for education majors? I can give those back to you one at a time if you want.
No. So the short answer is, yeah, we have students from lots of different majors studying abroad. What's going to happen when you study abroad is you're going to have to decide, or you're going to get to choose courses frequently from the course catalog of another university. And you may choose courses that simply fulfill the liberal arts core or electives at UNC Asheville. You're going to get credit for it in any case. The only question is whether it's going to be the liberal arts core, which is our general education program, elective credit, or major credit. Most students end up earning a combination of that. They may only earn one credit, one course or two in their major. But if you will come to us early in the process and let us help you plan, we can help you select those. There are a couple of majors that are so course intensive that it's really difficult to get abroad and still finish in 4 years. So for instance, engineering, it's a very popular major. It's a very rigorous and rigid curriculum. They want you to take a certain set of classes every semester. That said, one of the best run study abroad programs in the UNC system is at NC State. And so they have figured out how to get, and we do talk with their office, they have figured out how to get engineering students abroad. So what I would say is probably the most likely scenario is you earn some elective credit or general education credit, and you get 1 or 2 courses in your major. And yes, there are specific programs. In fact, if you go to studyabroad.unca.edu, that's our website, and you have the option of searching for programs by either geographic area or a specific discipline. And there are certain programs tailored specifically to art students or to psychology students.
Very cool. All right, one more specific question about study abroad. Other costs, room, board.
Yeah, so the reality is it will cost a little bit more in even the best case scenario. We have programs where you pay UNC Asheville tuition fees, room and board. Sometimes you pay UNC Asheville tuition and fees, but have to pay room and board in your host country. You can live in a residence hall at a British university. Sometimes you can find off-campus housing. The 2 primary drivers of the additional cost are travel expense of both getting to another country and travel you might want to do while you're in that country, and potentially an exchange rate or room and board rate in another country that's slightly higher than the US. Could be slightly lower. It just depends on it, it just depends on where you go. When I was in college, I spent 5 months in China, and it actually cost me less than the equivalent semester at my university. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have a student on here who is very interested in new media. Do either of you have specific examples of opportunities outside of the classroom for new media?
We happen to host, if I could jump in, Lisa, 2 of our new media faculty, Dr. Cusack and Dr. Cloninger, lead a trip. They've led a trip almost every year, save for the pandemic, to Amsterdam, Belgium. They often go to Germany as well during that trip. It's tailored specifically for new media students. They're offering new media courses on that program.
That's awesome. And this fall, the Career Center is taking students on one of our career treks. Our career treks we do local ones. So tomorrow we're taking students to Pisgah Legal, but which is our local legal aid office, which I think answers another question I saw about where do students do internships related to law. And that's an example of that. Another example of that is last summer, we funded a student to do their internship at the district attorney's office in Wilmington. So you don't have to stay in Asheville, but if you want to, you can. But this fall, we are taking students for fall break to explore careers in new media in Raleigh, in the Raleigh area. And we have a couple of video game companies on the list, a couple of media companies on the list. And so we're still finalizing the details of that trip, but that will be this fall for fall break. So those career treks, they happen once a semester the overnight career treks happen once a semester. And in the fall, it's over fall break, so it's shorter. So we usually stay a little bit closer. This past year, we went to Atlanta to explore STEM careers. Visited the CDC, visited Emory's chemistry program, and many other places. I wasn't on the trip, so I can't tell you. But we do have some good coverage of that I can share with you. This spring, for spring break, we just took students to Washington, D.C. We took 17 students to D.C. to explore policy careers. These are not major specific, so they're related to a major, right? If you're a political science major, you might be more interested. If you're a new media major, you might be more interested in the other one. But we don't require that you be in that major. We do require that you show a demonstrated interest in the area that the trip is exploring. So for our policy students, they could be majoring in anything as long as they showed that they had a demonstrated interest in policy, they were eligible for the DC trip. And so the same will be true in the fall for our new media trip. Absolutely. So yes, so we're really excited about that.
That's so awesome. So I'm glad that you caught that law question. Thank you so much. They had mentioned history too. I can imagine maybe there's opportunities like with the downtown Pack Memorial Library and the archive room, things like that.
Absolutely. And we have an alum who is a high-level archivist in somewhere in South Carolina. I wish I could tell you the name of the organization, but they've been doing it for a lot of years. And so we have really good connections as far as history. It depends on what you want to do in history, right? Even sometimes we find that the students who are interested specifically in archival also enjoy working in art museums. So like the Asheville Art Museum is a place that we have interns at pretty much every semester, and it's a place where we fund internships regularly in the summer. So there are lots of different opportunities around every major. And here's the thing, just because we haven't done it before, that we're a career center that loves to do new things. So just because we haven't done one somewhere before doesn't mean we're going to say, well, oh, well, we're going to say, yes, let's figure out how to make that happen.
How cool would it be to like be the first student who builds that connection between UNC Asheville and a nonprofit or a business or something? Yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, very cool. We got some feedback already that those art museum and new media internships sound really cool. So we'll give students, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up. If anybody has any last minute questions, please go ahead and throw those in the Q&A. I'm going to give Deaver and Lisa one final opportunity. Any one piece of advice or one thing that you wanted to mention and haven't had a chance to touch on yet? I'll give you a second if you need it.
The only thing that I love to share with incoming students is that I think because our name is Career Center, it sounds like something that's far away, or it sounds like you might have to know something before you walk in. We've got an appointment type called just want to talk. You have to know nothing to walk into the Career Center, and we hope that you will. If you want to just come by and say hi, yeah, that's great too. And many of our events have delicious snacks. I just came from one today. The delicious snacks is Gap Year with a Purpose. So we were working with students to think about, Peace Corps, AmeriCorps. So when you think of career, it doesn't have to be, 9 to 5 cubicle job, the thing that we think of for some reason. It's anything that is pursuing your interests, trying out something new, gaining a really cool experience. That's what we're all about.
Love that. Thank you,
And
Lisa.
yeah. And I would just say it's never too early to start thinking about this. Use our website to kind of help educate yourself about, we have a lot of like frequently asked questions there. We're happy to talk with you and help make the plan. It does take at times 6 months or more to kind of prepare to complete an application, to figure out what courses you want to take, to make sure that those are going to transfer back. And the other way you can learn about us is now that the pandemic is receding, and we have students coming back from study abroad programs all the time, we are beginning, Sarah King in the Office of Study Abroad is beginning to host social events on a semi-regular basis that allow students to share with other study abroad students about their experience, but also with prospective study abroad students. So there's another way you can kind of learn from other students, and we'd love to help you do that.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to go back to college. Lisa, quick question about that SCARF forum. If one of our prospective students wants to go, do they have to buy a ticket or RSVP to it?
So SCARF is the research one. So Megan Powell's working on that. But no, I'm pretty sure it's wide open and free. Deaver, you can fact check me on that, but I think it's totally open.
Oh, I can't fact check you. Sorry.
Usually undergraduate research day is free, and we've renamed it to SCARF, and I think that's a much better name, and inclusive of the creative activities that our students do. And so I can't imagine we would charge. I think you can just show up.
You're right. And I apologize for getting that mixed up and putting you on the spot for for Megan's question. Well, that is a great place to kind of pivot. So if I would encourage that student, if you want to double check just in case, every prospective student on the session here tonight has a designated admissions counselor at UNC Asheville, and that person's whole job is to help you through this process. So wherever you got an email about this event, whether it was a reminder or the confirmation of your registration, you can just reply back to that email if you don't know who your admissions counselor is, and ask them literally any question that you have. They'd be happy to send you that stuff. But also, just as a reminder, we've got a couple more of these Q&As with UNCAs coming up. So on April 6th, next week will be, or the week after next, I guess, we're going to have a specific Q&A for transfer students. On April 13th, we'll have one on student life. On April 27th, we'll have one on advising. On May 4th, we'll have our second Q&A on housing. And then on May 11th, we've got a second one for transfer students as well. And so in case you didn't take notes on that as I was talking, which I'm sure no one did, I would not expect you to. Again, feel free to reach out to anybody at the admissions office or your admissions counselor, and they'd be happy to remind you and give you more information about those opportunities. One more time, thank you so much, Deaver and Lisa and Megan earlier for taking time out of your evening to chat with our prospective students about the opportunities that we have here at UNC Asheville. So thank you guys. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye.